Hey, good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, Jeff. I'm good, man.
Hey, good. I just wanted to explore the offensive line and its moving parts. Is there a way that, with so many new players coming in, that you can develop consistency and continuity with this unit?
Yeah, it's something you always wish for is to have the same five guys play for you the whole season long, but that's just not the case really for any team. The consistency those guys have is in the prep that every single one of those guys gets from Joe Gilbert and Harold Goodwin and Dean Petzing. There's been a lot of moving pieces. That part's obvious from us. The
Walton
mentality though that they
or
all
Char
have has been great, and those guys have approached every day. The same, no matter who's up in the group. And I do think the one benefit that we've had from all the moving pieces is that guys don't blink when they're put into new spots. When a new starter comes in at a different position, they've already worked communication with different individuals, so you're not entrenched in five guys.
Yeah, sorry to speak up. There was a pause there, and I thought you stopped.
Oh
But
no, you're good.
um, uh, Walton or Charles, is there any way they could work their way into the lineup this week? Do you need them?
Yeah, we're always wait until the end of the week to see how some of these guys that are trying to come back, trying to make it to game day, to see what our final numbers are. But all those guys are all chomping at the bit to get the opportunity, and they've done a great job. So we'll kind of reserve that to the end of the week to make sure that we no stone is left unturned with which guys can be back and active for us. But B. Walt and Sadiq have done a great job of really keeping their heads in it and being ready to go.
And just one final question. Is the O-line this year beginning to look like the D-line last year?
the our O line this year has been a lot like last year with the moving parts. They've done a great job of getting after it. I'm not what specifically you want me to touch on that as far as from last year.
Just the accumulating injuries that the D-line faced last year,
Yeah,
that the O-line
yeah. I think Evero, yeah, he dealt with a lot of that last year. We also had some moving pieces last year. Cade came in and started a bunch of games for us last year. And so did Brady, playing a bunch of different spots. It's unfortunate when you see some of those guys go down, but just making sure that we approach every week, next guy up mentality in every room. It happened in the quarterback room last week, the O-line room, really almost every week. And same goes with the skills. So those guys are really just everybody's got to be ready to go. I think that's the truth of this league. Is every roster spot's so important, and they're all one step away from playing really important ball for us.
Hey, thanks. Good luck on Sunday.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff.
Any other questions for Coach? Mike K.
Hey, good morning, Brad.
Mike.
Yes, I was wondering if you could clarify something. Yesterday, Dave said that Andy injured his thumb pretty early in the game. Were you guys aware of that throughout the game? And I know he's the one that would make the decision whether or not he's in there, but did that impact the way you guys called plays?
We call it how the things that we're confident in as far as what he executed throughout the week. Our medical staff does a great job of communicating all that stuff as things come up, as they did on this past Sunday. For us, as long as he's cleared and he says he's good to go, we have great communication. And for the rest, I'll leave up to how Dave's kind of communicated, what happened in our last game. But yeah, he was ready to go, and we were ripping. And the biggest thing is when players are cleared to go back out there, we're not going to hesitate to make sure that they're able to accomplish the things that we're asking them to do. So our medical staff does a great job doing that and communicating to when they can and can't do that. And we were ready to roll last week.
And then as far as the rotation goes, Davis said that you guys have had a lot of conversations about how you can improve that. Obviously, you had your quarterly review, I guess, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
But how much do you guys have to balance the fact that, the running back position is very volatile? Guys can have huge games and then kind of have letdowns constantly throughout the season. How much does that impact your strategy within handling the rotation, maybe going with a different guy or sticking with the guy you have?
Yeah, that also is the truth of the league. Sometimes, a game plan, how defenses are playing you, or who's hitting on a certain day, kind of shifts. Okay, we need to focus on what's hot at the moment, but then also just making sure that our game stays in balanced, right? We're taking care of the ball. We're able to run and pass the ball, throughout the whole course of the game. We're not getting behind a couple scores. So those guys can both get touches. I know that, the elephant in the room is that we got two really good backs, right? That's a good opportunity for us to rep two guys. But at the same time, we have to be able to play balanced ball for those guys to get the reps we want them to get. So making sure we protect the ball, we stay ahead of the sticks, and we stay in those normal down and distances to get both those guys touches.
Darren?
Good morning, Brad. How would you describe you guys' process when you're trying to blend in a Mike White, a Hendon Hooker, guys who spend most of their times scout team, when you're trying to sprinkle in a little bit of first team stuff in case they are needed?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is words, right? So bringing in a quarterback from a different system, whether it's Hendon or Mike, and just accumulating reps of saying our words. You might have called it this, we call it that. This is how you communicate things out. This is our processes pre-snap, getting them to command the huddle. So that's always the first step. And then we have bullpen reps is what we call them after practice, making sure that they go through the whole script. You usually get a couple of young wideouts with you. You kind of walk through the plays and get those bullpen reps that you did not get during the course of practice. And Will Harriger and Mike Bercovici are all over it training every guy they have in that room, and make sure you pull a couple of the young skill players along with you. So if they didn't get the live rep during practice, they're at least putting themselves through that with these post-practice reps.
How different are the words? I mean, as you're getting to know a Mike, how different are the words he's said in the past of what you guys call him, and how has he picked that up?
He's picked it up really well. I think some of the harder things, you get into your tempo packages, your 2-minute packages, and there's all-encompassing words. Those become kind of rote memorization. Got to give him the hook, and he's got to make flashcards or whatever it is to let it stick on his brain. But as far as concepts are concerned, I think it's really easy for guys to kind of get into groove because you have experience. We talked about Andy last week, having experience in a bunch of different systems. You know how the reads and progressions go. It's just a matter of letting the word talk to you. And that's why as coaches, when we present an offense, it's so important to group these words in an important way, group the vocabulary, couple things together, have a system in place that allows guys to come in and flourish right away because there's a hook in the word. There's a hook in the run game families. There's a hook in the pass game concepts, which allows them to kind of hold on to some of the why. When it comes to ripping the throws and going through the progressions, fortunately, those guys have had experiences with a lot of it. So that part we're not worried about. It's just more of making sure that they're confident in the words, what they mean, where the guys are going to end up, and then commanding the huddle with those.
Joe Person?
Hey, Brad. Sorry, I think I'm on safe driving mode here, so apologize for the black screen.
It's all good.
Following up on Mike's question, was there much thought given to getting Andy out of that game late, given that he had this thumb deal and the score was getting away from you?
I'll leave that up to how Dave's responded to that question. He was cleared to go, and he was chomping at the bit to make sure that we claw back into that game. So I'll leave that all the details of that communication up to Dave.
Fair enough. Speaking of elephant in the room, we haven't asked you about Bryce. How did he look yesterday, and what's your expectation level for getting him back Sunday?
Oh, he looked great. He was spinning the ball. He was eager to get a full speed tempo routes with all his guys. We had to remind him, hey, this is a Wednesday. We're trying to get some of our guys' legs back. But you just love the competitive nature that he has. He's like, once he sees the game plan, he starts writing down, I need this concept versus this coverage. I want to get T-Mac on this route versus this kind of defensive look. I want to get this footwork to make sure, that I'm prepared and I've gone through all those physical reps to have myself ready for game day. Really excited just in his approach. He didn't lose that last week. He was going through those mental processes, and then for him to get back out on the field, he's chomping at the bit. Really excited to watch him today in full speed, live, more closer to live action, so we can get those full speed reps with the guys on the side, and in team periods.
Thank you.
Yep.
Cassidy?
Hey, Brad, how's it going?
Good morning.
Morning. We talked to T-Mac yesterday about like knowing that these are two Packers corners in Nixon and McKinney that can get kind of tenacious and really hand fighty. When you know that you've got corners like that as a coach, do you have them practice differently or tell your guys or tell the corners like, hey, really get in there and like bug him this week, like really annoy him?
Well, you can do it in both phases. So we always preach to our guys when we're running the ball, you can either work a release versus man, or you can start to play the physical game with him. You always want to be the aggressor. We always talk about attacking in nature is what we want our offense to feel like. That includes being on the perimeter in the pass game. These guys are very handsy. They like to play hands-on, especially when they're in man coverage. They like to squat in zones and make you run through them. So we have to work edges, and Rob Moore does a great job of making sure that physicality is captured, throughout practice. T-Mac, I think we talked about him, early in the spring, right, when he was going against JC and Mike, early on, like learning the physicality of the NFL. That's absolutely something you highlight when you go and talk to the scout team players this week. You say, hey, if we're in man coverage and you're in press, I don't want soft pedal. Like, I want you to get into his grill and challenge us to throw a flag. Because we're not going to get them every snap, but we need to play as if, we're the attacker, we're the aggressor on offense, even though those guys are going to play handsy and up in your face.